Good morning, dear students. Today we'll discuss about the development of male and female reproductive system. As you know, the male and female reproductive system develops along with the urinary system. That's why urogenital system will study in a urogenital system. You have seen the urogenital system develops from intermediate mesoderm. So two things are important. One thing is intermediate mesoderm, and another thing is cloaca. So by intermediate mesoderm and development of cloaca and differentiation of the cloaca, male and female reproductive system and urinary system develops. So in previous lecture, you have seen the urinary system, and today we'll discuss about the genital system. So male and female reproductive system. What is the aim of study? To learn the development and congenital abnormalities of both male and female genital system. And learning goals are to learn the development and congenital anomalies of the testes and the ovaries, to learn the development and congenital abnormalities of genital ducts, to learn the development and congenital anomalies of the external genitalia. So urinary and genital systems are developed from the intermediate mesoderm and cloaca. Here you can see this is third week of embryo. This is dorsal view in A, and in B you can see the section in which you can see notocard. Here you in middle point you can see notocard, and upper layer is ectoderm, lower layer is endoderm, and middle part is a mesoderm. In mesoderm there is notocard, and mesoderm is divided from medial to lateral side by paraxial mesoderm. Medial most is paraxial mesoderm, then intermediate mesoderm, and then lateral paired mesoderm. In this diagram, you can see the intermediate mesoderm is yellow in color. This here, gradually nephrogenic card is formed. Dorsal side of the coelomic coelom, each card produces a bulge into the coelom called the urogenital ridge, and this nephrogenic card from the urogenital ridge. Here you can see in this diagram, this is nephrogenic card. This is nephrogenic card. And here at the site of nephrogenic card, a ridge is formed. This ridge is known as urogenital ridge. So you have seen the intermediate mesoderm. At the site of the intermediate mesoderm, there is development of nephrogenic card, and then a nephrogenic card from the urogenital ridge. This is urogenital ridge. If you see this urogenital ridge in another section, this urogenital ridge forms this medial most structure. You can see medial most structure is gonad. So here gonad develops, and lateral to this you can see the excretory tubules develop, and lateral to this mesonephric duct is present. It develops, and lateral to mesonephric duct, paramesonephric duct is formed. So from medial to lateral, medial most is gonad, then excretory tubule of, then mesonephric duct, then paramesonephric duct is formed. Genetic sex is established at the fertilization by the kind of sperm that fertilizes the ovum. The gonads begin to attain sexual characteristics from the seventh week, and early genital system in two sexes are similar. In initial stage development, you can see in initial stage both the male and female sex are the same. This initial period is called the indifferent state of the sexual development. And in genital system, we'll discuss about the development of gonads, development of genital ducts, and external genitalia. First of all, discuss the primordial germ cells, where it is formed. Primordial germ cells, where it is formed. This is large spherical sex cell are visible early in the fourth week among the endodermal cell of the yolk sac near the origin of the allantois. You can see in A there is yolk sac, and near the yolk sac there is allantois. From here, light blue color dotted structure you can see, that is primordial germ cells. So from yolk sac and allantois, near the allantois, primordial germ cells during fourth week, it originate here. And during folding of the embryo, dorsal part of the yolk sac is incorporated in the embryo. And in C, you can see, in B and C, you can see this primordial germ cells. During folding of the embryo, dorsal part of yolk sac is incorporated in the embryo. The dorsal part of the yolk sac incorporated, and in next stage, primordial germ cells migrate along the dorsal mesentery of the hindgut to the gonadal ridges. You can see in this large diagram, lower large, primordial germ cells are present here, and these primordial germ cells comes here from the yolk sac, and from here it goes to site of the development of the gonad. During sixth week, primordial germ cells enter the underlying mesenchymal and incorporated in the gonadal cards. Here, the primordial germ cells incorporate with the gonadal cards. In lower diagram, you can see. Now, development of the testis. You can see in diagram A and B. The gonadal cards condense and extend into the medulla of the indifferent gonad, where they branch and anastomose to form the rete testis. So, a dense layer of the fibrous connective tissue, tunica albuginea, separate the testis card from the surface epithelium. तो here surface epithelium, यहाँ देखिए, यहाँ tunica albuginea लिखा है, यहीं पर surface epithelium. Here coelomic epithelium, it proliferates and form the sex card. जो आपको लंबे लंबे दिख रहे हैं, ये सेक्स कार्ड हैं. And in the sex cards, primordial germ cells incorporate, and here seminiferous tubules are formed. So these sex cards form the seminiferous tubules. और इसके बाद फिर coelomic epithelium और these इन tubules के बीच में एक लेयर बन जा रही है, that is tunica albuginea. It separates the seminiferous tubule with the coelomic epithelium. In the fourth month testis, cards become horseshoe shaped. In B, you can see these are the horseshoe shaped. Their extremities are continuous with those of the rete testis, and these horseshoe shaped seminiferous tubules joins with the rete testis, and this testis cards are now composed of the primitive germ cell and sustentacular cells of the Sertoli derived from the surface epithelium of the gland. So some mesenchymal cells and some surface epithelial cells form the supporting cell, that is Sertoli cells, sustentacular cells also. Interstitial cells of the Leydig, these derived from the original mesenchyme of the gonadal rhizage, begins development shortly after onset of the differentiation of these cards. जब ये कार्ड्स बन जाते हैं, इसके बाद फिर इंटरस्टिशियल जर्म सेल्स, इंटरस्टिशियल सेल ऑफ द लेडिक्स, ये सराउंडिंग जो mesenchyme है इससे बनती है. फिर लेडिक cells lie between the testis card and begins testosterone production by 8th week of the gestation. Thus, the testis is able to influence sexual differentiation of the genital ducts and external genitalia. So, during 8th week, testosterone is formed and it influences the sexual differentiation. The testis cards remain solid until puberty, when they are canalized, form the seminiferous tubules. Thus, they join rete testis tubules, which in turn enter the ductuli efferentis, also known as vasa efferentia, which are the remaining part of the excretory tubule of the mesonephric system. They link the rete testis and the mesonephris are the Wolffian duct, which become ductus deferens. Now, development of ovary. Here you can see approximately same pattern. Gonadal develops occur slowly in female. Primitive sex card dissociate into irregular cell cluster containing groups of primitive germ cells in the medullary part of the ovary. मेल में हमने देखा सेक्स कार्ड्स बने हुए हैं, फीमेल में भी सेक्स कार्ड हैं, लेकिन ये एक दूसरे से सेक्स कार्ड टुकड़ों में टूट जा रहे हैं और फिर उसके अंदर primordial germ cells आ रही है, and with the primordial germ cells it form the follicles, primordial follicle. Later they disappear and replaced by vascular stroma that form the ovarian medulla. So outer part is cortex and inner part is medulla. Surface epithelium of the female gonad, unlike that of the male, continuous with proliferate, give rise to a second generation of the card, cortical cards, in the 7th week. मेल में हम लोगों ने देखा कि सेमिनिफरस ट्यूबुल्स और सिलोमिक एपिथेलियम के बीच में ट्यूनिका एल्ब्यूजिनिया बन जा रही है, लेकिन इन केस ऑफ द फीमेल ट्यूनिका एल्ब्यूजिनिया नहीं बनती है, दोनों कांटेक्ट में रहते हैं, सिलोमिक एपिथेलियम एंड सेक्स कार्ड. In the 4th month, cortical card is split into isolated cell cluster and each surrounded one or more primitive germ cells. Germ cells develop into oogonia surrounding epithelial cell, descendant of the surface epithelium, form the follicular cells. Now, development of the genital duct. This is in different stage. At the beginning, both male and female embryos have 2 pairs of the genital ducts. Mesonephric or Wolffian duct and paramesonephric or Mullerian ducts, arising as a longitudinal invagination of the epithelium of the anterolateral surface of urogenital ridge. In this diagram, you can see in both diagram A and B, paramesonephric duct and mesonephric duct. You can see medial left side, paramesonephric duct. Then from left to right, there is mesonephric duct, and then developing testis or ovary. The two ducts are separated by a septum, but later fuse to form the uterine canal. Initially, paramesonephric duct are separated and medial and lower part joined to form the uterine canal. The caudal tip of the combined duct projects into the posterior wall of the urogenital sinus and causing a swelling, that is paramesonephric or Mullerian tubercle. Both these join on the paramesonephric tubercle. The mesonephric ducts open into urogenital sinus on either side of the Mullerian tubercle. Here you can see in A and B, duct which is bluish in color, that is paramesonephric duct. You can see the urogenital sinus, the both ducts joints in medial plane and form uterovaginal canal, and this uterovaginal canal open into the urogenital sinus. The genital duct develops in male. The mesonephric regress a few excretory tubules. In this diagram, you can see mesonephric regress a few excretory tubules, that is epigenital tubules, establish contact with the cards of the testis and finally form efferent ductules of the testis. These form the efferent ductules of the testis. Here you can see the mesonephric duct, efferent ductules, several efferent ductules are connected with the testis. In upper part and in lower part, ductules are not connected with the testis. Excretory tubule along the caudal pole of the testis, paragenital tubercles, do not join the card of the testis, and their vestige are named as paradidymis. Mesonephric ducts persist and form the main genital ducts except for the most cranial portion, that is appendix epididymis. The mesonephric duct elongate, become highly convoluted, forming the ductus epididymis. Immediately just the entrance of the efferent ductules. You can see in this diagram the mesonephric duct become highly coiled and form the epididymis. Mesonephric duct obtain a thick muscular coat and form ductus deferens. And below the epididymis, you can see the mesonephric duct thickened and form the ductus deferens, that is vas deferens, from the tail of epididymis to the outbudding of the seminal vesicle. So you can see in the A and B, ductus deferens. The region of the ducts beyond the seminal vesicle is ejaculatory duct. In B, you can see in upper portion of the diagram, ductus deferens. Here a vesicle is formed that is known as seminal vesicle. After the vesicle, the remaining part of the mesonephric duct, you can see lateral to utriculus prostaticus. That part is ejaculatory duct. The paramesonephric ducts degenerate except for the small portion of their cranial ends, which form the appendix testis. So in B, you can see appendix testis. Here, two structures are dark yellow, that is utriculus prostaticus, which develops from paramesonephric duct, and another structure just above the epididymis, that and just above the testis, that is appendix testis, develops from paramesonephric duct. Now, development of male genital glands. There is multiple endodermal outgrowth arising from the prostatic part of urethra, grow into the surrounding mesenchyme and differentiate into the prostatic glandular epithelium. You can see in A, this is prostatic part of urethra, B, prostatic part of urethra. Here, the endodermal outgrowth arising from prostatic part of urethra grow into the surrounding mesenchyme, form the prostatic gland. Mesenchymal cells differentiate into the prostatic stroma. Another gland is bulbourethral gland, develops from the paired outgrowth from the spongy part of urethra. Now, genital duct development in the female. In the female, paramesonephric duct develops into the main genital ducts. You can see in this diagram, red in color. That is paramesonephric duct. In diagram on left side, you can see the paramesonephric duct. It forms the main genital ducts. Initially, three parts can be recognized. You can see three parts. One part is vertical part, cranial vertical portion that opens into the abdominal cavity, develop into uterine tube. It has abdominal ostia. You can see where fimbriae is present in B. There is an opening that is known as abdominal ostia, through which the uterine tube communicate with the abdominal cavity. So it has cranial vertical portion. And next part is horizontal portion. Horizontal part that cross the mesonephric duct develops into the uterine tube. And a caudal vertical part that fuse in its partners from the opposite side fuse to form the uterine canal. It forms the uterine canal. The ducts fuse in the midline. In A, you can see there is urogenital ridge, mesonephric excretory tubules, and paramesonephric duct. The ducts fuse in midline a broad transverse pelvic fold, that is broad ligament of the uterus. Gradually, you can see the fold of peritoneum. This is broad ligament is established. The uterine tube lie in its upper border, and the ovary lies on the posterior surface. So you can see in the C, the broad ligament is formed, and anterior to broad ligament, that is uterorectal pouch is present, and posteriorly you can see posteriorly there is uterorectal pouch, and anteriorly there is uterovesical pouch. Anteriorly uterovesical pouch you can see in this C. Uterus and broad ligaments divide the pelvic cavities into uterorectal pouch and the uterovesical pouch. Fused paramesonephric duct differentiate into the corpus and cervix of the uterus. They are surrounded by layers of the mesenchyme that form the myometrium and perimetrium. Now, developmental vagina. After a solid tips of the mesonephric duct, reaches the urogenital sinus. Two solid evaginations, sino-vaginal valves, grow out from the pelvic part of the sinus. You can see in A, there is uterovaginal canal and urogenital sinus. There a bulb is formed, sino-vaginal valve. Between these two, a bulb is formed. Gradually, this bulb forms the vaginal plates. The sino-vaginal valves proliferate and form a solid vaginal plate. You can see in next diagram, B. There is solid vaginal plate is formed. The proliferation continues at the cranial end of the plate, increasing the distance between the uterus and urogenital sinus. By the fifth month, vaginal outgrowth is entirely kyanized. Vaginal fornix or wing-like expansion of the vagina around the end of uterus are the paramesonephric duct origin. You can see in upper portion, cervix, uterus, and upper part of the vagina fornix develops from paramesonephric duct, and lower part, which is in this diagram different in color, develops from urogenital sinus. Thus, the vagina has two origins: upper portion derived from uterine canal and lower portion derived from the urogenital sinus. And the lumen of the vagina remains separated from that of the urogenital sinus by a thin tissue plate known as hymen. The hymen consists of the epithelial lining of the sinus and thin layer of the vaginal cells. It usually develops an opening during the perinatal life. Now, remnants of the ducts in females. Remnants of the cranial and caudal excretory tubules in the mesovarium form the epiphoron and paraphoron. In this diagram, you can see in B, there is epiphoron and paraphoron. These are the remnant of the excretory tubules which opens into the mesonephric duct. Mesonephric duct disappear except for a small cranial portion found in the epiphoron. So this mesonephric bluish in color mostly disappear and some part persist and form the epiphoron. And a small caudal portion in the wall of uterus or vagina persist as Gartner's cyst. In B, you can see in lower portion of the diagram, Gartner's cyst is formed. Now, congenital anomalies of the uterus and vagina. Uterus may be double uterus, uterus diadelphys, result from failure of the fusion of the inferior parts of the paramesonephric duct. It may associated with double or single vagina. So uterus diadelphous. Bicarbonate uterus, one paramesonephric duct is retarded in its growth and does not fuse with the other one. Bicarbonate uterus with rudimentary horn. The rudimentary horn may not communicate with the uterine cavity. Unicarbonate uterus, one paramesonephric duct failed to develop, resulting in uterus with one uterine tube. That is unicarbonate. The absence of the vagina and uterus. It results from failure of the sino-vaginal valves to develop. And vaginal atresia, there is failure of canalization of the vaginal plate. And imperforate hymen, there is failure of perforation in the inferior end of the vaginal plate. Here you can see in this diagram, A is normal uterus and vagina. And in B, you can see this is double uterus with double vagina. And in C, double uterus with single vagina. Here you can see bicarnate uterus. Bicarnate B is next is bicarnate uterus with rudimentary left horn. Left horn is rudimentary, it is poorly developed, and right horn is complete. Septate uterus. In midline, you can see the septa, that is septate uterus. And in next diagram, you can see in G, unicarnate uterus. Only one carnua is present. Now, congenital anomaly is the hymen. You can see A is the normal hymen, B is the incomplete perforation of the hymen, C is septate hymen, D is cribriform hymen, that is perforated hymen. Small openings are present. You can see this cribriform, sieve-like, and there is micro perforated hymen, and this is imperforate hymen. Now, development of external genitalia. In the third week, mesenchymal cells originating in the region of the primitive streak migrate around the cloacal membrane to make a pair of slightly elevated cloacal fold. The cloacal fold is formed, you can see in this A. Cloacal membrane and cloacal fold is formed, and the structure, that is genital swelling lateral to this fold, cranial to the cloacal membrane. The fold unite to cloacal fold unite to form a genital tubercle. You can see in this diagram, genital tubercle is formed. Currently, the folds are subdivided into the urethral fold and anteriorly and anal folds posteriorly. So you can see in the diagram B, where anal fold and urethral folds are separated. And the pair of elevations, that is genital swelling, become visible on each side of urethral folds. Later, these swellings form the scrotal swelling in the male and labial majors in the female. So, lateral to urethral fold, there is a genital swelling, which form the scrotal swelling or labial major swelling. Under the influence of androgen from the fetal testis, the rapid elongation of the genital tubercle form the phallus, during which the phallus pulls the urethral folds forward so that they form the lateral wall of the urethral groove. You can see in this diagram, phallus. The urethral groove does not reach the most distal part, that is glans. The epithelial lining of the groove, which originate in the endodermal, form the urethral plate. You can see in this diagram, diagram B, upper part, you can see the urethral plate. In lower part, urethral fold. And below you can see the lumen of the penile urethra. At the end of third month, the two urethral folds close over the urethral plate, forming the penile urethra. This canal does not extend the tip of the phallus. This most distal urethra is formed during the fourth month, when ectodermal cells from the tip of the glans penetrate inwards and form the epithelial cards. You can see in C, a solid epithelial card is present in the region of the glans. This card obtains the lumen and form the external urethral meatus. This solid epithelial card, gradually here a lumen is formed, and through which the external urethral meatus is formed. Now, genital or scrotal swelling arise in the inguinal region, move caudally, and each one makes up the half of the scrotum, separated by scrotal septum. You can see in D, the scrotal swelling from the scrotum. Now, congenital anomalies related to the penis. Important condition is hypospadias, that is most Common anomalies of the penis, the external urethral orifice on the ventral surface of the glans penis is penile hypospadias, resulting from inadequate production of the androgens by the fetal testes or inadequate receptor site of the hormone. And there is epispadia. The urethra opens on the dorsal surface of the penis, often associated with the extrophy of the bladder, resulting from inadequate ectodermal mesodermal interaction during the development of genital tubercle. So there is epispadias and hypospadias. Here you can see hypospadias, the opening on the inferior aspect. Here the agencies of external genitalia. Here you can see that the site of the genitalia, there is no any development agencies. Now congenital anomalies of the penis. Penis may be agencies of the external genitalia, absence of the penis or clitoris resulting from a failure or development of genital tubercle. Bifidus penis and double penis. Very rarely and often associated with the extrophy of the bladder or only anomalies results when two genital tubercles develops. Micropenis, the penis is so small that it is almost hidden by the suprapubic part of the pit. It results from a fetal testicular failure. Fetal testicular failure. Here is development of external genitalia in female. It is stimulated by estrogens, genital tubercles elongated only slightly, forming the clitoris. Urethral folds do not fuse, develops into the labium minora. Genital swellings enlarge and form the labia majora. Urogenital groove is open and form the vestibule. Although the genital tubercles does not elongate extensively in female, it's longer than in male during the early stages, resulting in mistakes in identification of the sex by ultrasonography examination. Now, descent of the testis. By 26th week, have descended retroperitoneally from the posterior abdominal wall to the deep inguinal ring. As you know, testis develops into the lumbar region. From lumbar region, it descends and reaches into the scrotum. Androgens, gubernaculum, that is a mesenchymal condensation, may guide the descent. Descent may take 2 to 3 days and the inguinal canal contracts after they enter the scrotum. As the testis and the ductus deferens descend, they are incised by the facial extension of the abdominal wall. During 3rd month, the testis descend into the iliac fossa. During 7th month, it reaches at the level of deep inguinal ring. And during 8th week, at the last of 8th week, it reaches into the scrotum. One clinical condition, that is undescended testis, that is cryptorchidism, occurs in the 30% of the premature and 3 to 4% of the full-term males. It may be uni or bilateral. Failure of descent in the first year causes atrophy of the testis. It may be in the abdominal cavity or anywhere along the descent path, usually in the inguinal canal. It may be caused by deficiency of the androgen production in the testes. So undescended testis is known as cryptorchidism. Ectopic testis, after traveling the inguinal canal, so from iliac fossa it reaches into the deep inguinal ring, then passes through the inguinal canal, then passes through the superficial inguinal ring, reaches into the scrotum. After traveling the inguinal canal, the testis may deviates from the usual path of descent and lodge in the various abnormal location. Now, descent of the ovaries. Descent is considerably less in female The ovary settle below the rim of the true pelvis. You can see in this diagram. The cranial genital ligaments form the suspensory ligament. You can see in this diagram that is suspensory ligament. And another thing, caudal genital ligament form the ligament of the ovary proper. This part is formed by gubernaculum, ligament of ovary proper, from ovary to uterus. One ligament is present. And below, you can see in B, round ligament. This round ligament here, it is formed by gubernaculum. It extends from the uterus, from the angle of the uterus or the junction of the body and uterine tube. From here, it passes through the deep inguinal ring, then inguinal canal, then superficial inguinal ring, and then labia majora. It attached with the labia majora. So this is all about the development of the male and female genital system. Thank you.